We are going to start in child's pose. So come to your mats. You can start in a tabletop position, especially if you want to kind of ease into it tonight. You can warm up by just swaying your hips from side to side. And then bring your knees about your mats with distance apart, toe tips to touch. Sink down generously into your heels. And then once you feel like you're in a good position, just start to crawl yourself forward. If you do have a pillow nearby, it might be nice to place either under your chest or forehead or both, just to really relax into this child's pose as we begin class. So finding a shape that works for you. You might want to just ease in a little bit more than normal. So once you've really found your child's pose, just try to bring your forehead down to something. So either the mat, a pillow, the block, anything that you can really ground yourself down to. And as you start to ease into your practice tonight, just notice any areas of tension in your body. So you might be holding on to some tension in your upper body, especially if you've been on your computer all day. Just really trying to roll your shoulders on your back, relaxing into this a little bit. And then you also might have some tension in your hip area, especially if you've got some tight hamstrings, low back issues. So just be mindful of where you're at tonight. It's gonna feel different than last week, the week before. So just tune in to what that feels like. And also start to tune into how you're really feeling. So often we're rushing around all day that we don't have time to think about how we're really feeling or don't want to think about how we're really feeling. But restorative practice is such a tough practice for a lot of people because you actually have to slow down and be still with your thoughts, which can be quite scary sometimes. And all those things that you consistently try to suppress or not worry about throughout the day, you are forced to stay a little bit more still in these postures. So just whatever comes up for you, just allow it to come up. You might be feeling a host of things, maybe some relief, some excitement for the future, still some concern or worry over things right now, or just, however you're feeling, just allow that to really come up for you. And don't judge whatever it is, just acknowledge it. And part of centering and grounding into our practice is just recognizing how we're really feeling and allowing ourselves to really feel that way. Again, it's just making space for that stuff so that we can, at the end of practice, just release anything that isn't serving us anymore, making space for that good stuff to find us. If we're holding on to all that bad stuff all the time, we just can't make any space or any room for any of the good. So just on every exhale, try to sink a little bit deeper into your mat. Just imagine that your chest and forehead is melting more into the ground on every exhale. And every inhale, just allowing your belly to fully expand out so that you can allow for some good, fresh air to enter your body. So take some deep breaths, some rounds of deep breaths on your own, just really allowing your belly to rise and fall with your inhales and your exhales. Really starting to center here, coming back to your body. And if you've let your mind wander to, your day, rewinding what happened today or thinking about tomorrow or what you still have in your to-do list or whatever, just remember that you signed up for yoga tonight so that you could spend 60 minutes on your mat to try to relax, unwind, restore, reset to a neutral state. So as much as possible, just try to bring yourself back here and pay attention to what we're doing so that you can get the most benefits out of your practice tonight. Take another deep breath in, allow your belly to fully expand all the way out. And at the very top, just take one more sip of air when you feel like you can't. And then slowly, slowly, slowly start to exhale all of your air out, imagining that you can bring your belly button to touch your spine. And then at the empty, when you've released all your air, just hold for a moment. And then very slowly again, start to inhale, allowing your belly to fully expand out. And when you feel like you can't take any more air in, just try to take one more sip of air, holding at the top. And then slower than you inhale, just start to release that air out for your exhale. Until you feel like you're fully empty, your belly button is as close to your spine as possible. And then just taking a few more rounds of normal breathing, but just trying to pay attention to your inhales and exhales and seeing if you can lengthen them just a little bit. On your next inhale, just slowly start to crawl your fingertips back to neutral. If you've put a prop underneath your forehead or chest area, just move that out of the way and come back to a tabletop position. And here you'll just plant your left palm into the ground. Inhale, bring your right palm up to the sky. Take your gaze up with it, so look at your fingertips. And then exhale for thread the needle on the right-hand side. So you're just gonna bring your right palm up to the sky, bring it through towards the left side, and you're gonna come down onto your right shoulder. And you may have noticed that your hips shifted a lot during this pose, so just try to bump your left hip back so that it is neutral with your right hip. And then if you want a deeper stretch, you can always extend your left fingertips up to the top of the mat and kind of anchor in with your fingertips so that you can get more onto your right shoulder. And then try to bring your head down to something. So either a pillow, a block, the mat, whatever is accessible to you. Just really getting into the shoulder here. This is really gonna help release some of your upper body tension and stress and things that you've been holding on to, just to bring some blood flow back into this part of the body, releasing some tension here. Close your eyes if you haven't done so already. And then just coming back to your breath, finding a steady state that feels good to you. So again, just being mindful of your inhales and your exhales, allowing as much fresh air that can come in to come in, and then releasing it all out so that you can make space for that good stuff again when you get all the way empty. We're about halfway through this side already. So if you do need to adjust, you certainly can, but try to stay still. But if you notice that your hips aren't square, so if your left hip has been sneaking up a little bit, just try to nudge that back to come to a neutral alignment with your spine. And if this is too much for you to be in tabletop, you can always come back to child's pose legs. So bringing your knees out wider and just sinking more into your hips. That's always an option as well if you just find it too hard to be on your knees. And you may find that you have a lot of tension in your right side because Most of you probably are right-handed. So if it makes you feel better, your left side probably won't be as intense. So just think about that as we get through the next little bit here before we make our way to the other side. If you've extended your left fingertips towards the top of your mat, just start to slide your palm in towards your face. And then really anchor down into your left palm. Inhale, bring your right palm up to the sky, just like we started. And then we'll just take a few arm circles in one direction. And then we'll go the opposite way, just to bring some blood flow back to this arm. And then back to neutral. And we're just gonna swap that out. So anchor down into your right palm. Inhale, left palm lifts. Take your gaze up to your fingertips. And then start to bring your left palm through to the other side. So you'll just come down onto your left shoulder. Again, be mindful of your hips. So your right hip is likely higher than your left. Just try to anchor yourself so they're neutral and square, and then you'll just bring yourself down. You can always extend, again, your right fingertips towards the top of your mat just to really get into this a little bit more. So finding what feels good to you and getting into this left side here. Again, close your eyes if you haven't done so already, and just breathe here, using your breath to get you through. We are halfway through, so if you do need to make any adjustments, you certainly can. Just be mindful of your hips once more. So again, if your right hip is likely a little bit out of alignment, so just try to nudge them back. But if you made any adjustments, just come back to your breath, close your eyes, settle back in, just allowing yourself to breathe deep here. Take a deep breath in. Full open mouth, sigh out, let something go. On your next inhale, if you've extended your your right fingertips towards the top of your mat, just slide them back in towards your face. And then ground down into your right palm, lifting your left palm up to the sky, and then we'll just take those arm circles in one direction, and then in the other. And when you're ready, come back to your tabletop position. And we are going to take pigeon or sleeping swan. So if you want to do this on your back, you certainly can. But if you're gonna go traditional, you can just start to slide your right knee in towards your right wrist, and then bring your right ankle in towards your left wrist. And it should be as parallel as you can get it to the top of the mat, which for most of us, that's nowhere near parallel, but then you'll extend your left leg all the way back. Take a peek over your right shoulder just to square your hips down to the ground. Inhale, take your gaze up. And then exhale, start to crawl yourself down to put your pigeon to sleep. So for each of us, it's gonna look a little bit different. Each practice you have will look a little bit different. You might want some pillows underneath your chest or your head so that you can really sink down and relax into this as much as you can so that you can allow your hip to open up fully. So that is the goal. We store a lot of tension in our hip area. So really, if you can relax into this as much as possible with your upper body, you're gonna get the most benefits with your lower body. So grab onto those props. They are there to assist you to get into this stuff more. And once you're in a somewhat cozy shape, and by cozy, I just mean that you're not experiencing any pain in pigeon. It's very uncomfortable for most of us, but definitely should not be painful. So if that's ever the case, definitely back up and listen to your body, modify as needed. But if you're uncomfortable, but again, not in pain, just try to relax your upper body as much as possible, rolling your shoulders down your back, closing your eyes if you haven't done so already, just coming back to your breath. And just finding a way to really send any breath to areas of tension. So again, big hip opener here. And if you've got like low back issues, tight hamstrings, this one's gonna be tough for you. This one's definitely really tough for me. I store a lot of stress and tension and worry and all that good stuff in my hip area. And so every time we do pigeon, I'm always like, yeah, I probably should, work on this more throughout the week. And then here we come to, next yoga class and I'm still not working on that. So if you're like me, just try to really breathe into this as much as possible. And we're already more than halfway through. So finding whatever, word, phrase, mantra, whatever you will, that you might need to repeat in your head just to get through this pose. And using your breath. So really trying again to come back to your breathing. It's such a good tool for you to use throughout the day if you're finding yourself in a stressful situation. Maybe it's, at work and your boss or coworker is just driving you nuts and you need to use your yoga breathing to get you through it. I joke all the time that, I had to use my yoga breath for that. And it's not, not lying. There's a lot of times throughout the day where I find myself being like, okay, deep breath here, because otherwise I might have a panic attack or just totally freak out. So your yoga breathing not only gets you through hard yoga postures, but helps you get you through hard stuff throughout your day too. So if you ever find yourself, again, like really anxious or just stressed out, you just tune into your body and see if you're even really breathing. You might be breathing all in your chest area, not even allowing your belly to fully expand, and on the inhales, and to release all that air out on your exhales. So it's just a friendly reminder to utilize your breath. It's such a great tool when you're stressed out, and it's so underutilized. I know I forget about it quite often, and then I'll be like, nope, I need to come back to my breathing to get me through this. So just hopefully this serves as a good reminder to you. Maybe you'll even use it sometime tomorrow during your day. Just try to take a few more rounds of breath here. Just relaxing as much as you can. Take one more deep breath in. Big sigh out, let something go. On your next inhale, just slowly start to make your way out of this. So that's gonna look different to all of us. I like to come back to a tabletop position and just sway my hips from side to side. You might want to take some hip circles with your knee. I also like to extend my right leg back and really push into my toes so that I can get a full back of my leg stretch, especially since I'm not really stretching out my hamstrings as much as I should be throughout the day. This is just another way to counteract some of that. So just really pushing into your toes, allowing a great big stretch on the back side of your right leg. And then when you're ready, we are just going to swap that out. So coming back to that neutral tabletop, sliding your left knee in toward your left wrist, bringing your left ankle in towards your right wrist. Again, trying to get it as parallel as you can to the top of your mat, and then extend your right leg back, and pausing just to take a quick peek over your left shoulder, and this will help bring your hips a little bit closer to the mat. And then inhale, take your gaze up. Exhale, just start to crawl yourself forward and put your pigeon or sleeping swan to sleep. Again, you might need props on this side. Sometimes because our bodies are not symmetrical, you'll be fine on one side and think, oh, I don't need props tonight. And then you get to the other side, you're like, oh, yes, I do. So grab the props. Don't worry about needing assistance on one side versus the other. Maybe you needed them on the other side and don't need them on this side. So just listening to your body and just trying to melt your chest and your forehead into the mat, or again, a prop. Just to try to relax into this as much as you can. Closing your eyes whenever you get to a as comfortable as possible shape. And just checking into how you're feeling on this side. This side is going to feel different than the other side. You might have more tension that you're storing on this side, less tension. It might not be as miserable as the other side. So just tuning into that, paying attention to any emotion that might come up in pigeon. So often we call pigeon like the emotion opener, because it's like you're cleaning out all of the gunk that you've been holding on to, and finally having to, somewhat deal with it because you're doing such an opening posture to allow space for that good stuff to come in. So you gotta let go of that stuff, right? The stuff that we usually just are like, it's fine, I'm cool, yeah, no worries, but like really you're stressed out. That stuff takes up space, and then you can't really make space for that good stuff. So as you're laying here, just imagine that you're cleaning out that stuff, you're allowing space for new good stuff to come in. So just let whatever comes up, and then release it, just let it go. And we're more than halfway through this side already. So just breathe deep, knowing that we're almost done with this side. If you let your mind drift away, just nudge it back. Back to your breath. Take a deep breath in. Big sigh out, let something go. On your next inhale, make your way out of this side. Again, it's gonna look different, feel different than the other side too. Taking time to bring some blood flow back to that side, so whatever feels good and organic in your body, take that. I'm going to extend my left leg back and really push into my toes on this side just to get that full stretch again. But again, do what feels good to you. Each side is going to need and want something different. And when you're ready, we're gonna come to our seats. And if you've got blocks or pillows or both, you're gonna want those nearby. So I'm gonna grab some pillows, and once you've got your props, we're going to want to come into a wide V with your legs. So come out as wide of a V as you feel comfortable in. You might want to place one hand in front and one hand behind you, lift up your seat and just inch forward a little bit just to really get into your inner thigh area as much as you can. And then when you have your props, there's a couple different things you can do. We are going to take 2 different forward folds, one towards your right side and then one towards your left. So you might want props on either side of your forearms to just come down and rest your forearms on. You might want to stack them up in the middle on top of your leg, just so you can come down on your forehead. Whatever is gonna feel good to you. Set your props up accordingly. You might have to adjust slightly, but when you're ready, we're gonna start with our right hand side. So just start to shift your torso towards your right foot before you come down. And then inhale, take your arms up, your gaze up, and really reach as if you could touch the ceiling. And then exhale, start to reach towards your right foot. And then once your spine really starts to round and you can't reach forward anymore, that's when you can start to come down to your props. So finding, again, what shape feels good. You might need to adjust props accordingly, but try to allow your upper body to relax as much as possible. So close your eyes, really just get into this seated forward fold. And I talk every week about, you know, forward folds and their benefits. And I honestly know that some of you guys hate them for many reasons, because a lot of times if you're, especially if your low back is tight and your hamstrings are tight, forward folds are gonna be more difficult for you. But they really help with releasing all of that tension, which is great. But they also help us reset our parasympathetic nervous system. So if you are particularly stressed out or just anxious, you can always come into a forward fold. And since most of us are home a lot more these days, it won't be as weird if you just, you know, go into a forward fold randomly in the middle of the day. You can do a seated one, you can stand up and do them, but just allowing yourself to really rest in the forward fold as much as possible. It just serves as a really good reset button for our body and, like I said, our central nervous system. So if you hate them, I'm sorry, but they're really good for us. And they're good for a lot of different parts of our body, and just opening up as well, and doing the wide-legged variation where we go towards each side just really helps different areas of our low back and hamstrings open up. So breathe deep here. We're well more than halfway through this side. So coming back to your breath again, really relaxing in as much as possible. So just imagining that your chest can just get a little bit more towards your thigh, your forehead a little bit more towards your knee. Feeling that tension just roll off your shoulders. Coming back to your breathing, especially if you are letting your mind wander a lot, just trying to nudge it back and pay attention to the rise and fall of your belly on every inhale and exhale. Take a deep breath in. Big sigh out, let it go. Inhale, slowly start to make your way back up to a neutral seated position. So just taking your time here. And before we switch to the other side, just move your props out of the way. You might just want to bring your knees back in and then put your palms behind you and just windshield wiper your knees from side to side just to release tension in low back. And when you're ready, we're just gonna swap it out to the other side. So coming back to that wide V, and then bringing your props wherever, whatever works for you on the other side might be a good fit over here. So just taking what you need to get set up here. And then when you're ready, just start to really rotate your torso towards your left toes. Inhale, take your arms up, your gaze up. Just reach towards the ceiling as much as you can. Exhale, then start to reach towards your toes. And again, once you feel that really great rounding in your back, that's when you can really come down, release onto your props. And then close your eyes, allowing yourself to really relax as much as possible here. And you might find that, you know, you can get in deeper on this side. You might need less props. This might be a harder side for you. You might need some more support. So just paying attention to that, accepting what is, letting go of what isn't, and allowing yourself to really try to Breathe deep and relax as much as you can in this forward fold on this side. We're halfway through this side. So if you need to make an adjustment, you certainly can. But if you feel like you're in a good spot, just stay where you are. Try to really stay still. The more you fidget, the less you get out of each posture. And it's so easy to do, especially as we're laying here holding stuff for a while. You might find it's really hard to stay still. But the more that you really intentionally stay there, the more that your connective tissue in your body can start to really open up and release, which really helps with lengthening the muscles in our body and just are releasing a lot of that tension that we're holding on to. So try to stay still, try to keep breathing as much as you can. Try not to let your mind completely wander. I mean, part of the practice of yoga is knowing that your mind has wandered and bringing yourself back to what you're doing. The fact that your mind wandered isn't something to beat yourself up over. It's completely natural. The fact that you can recognize that your mind has wandered and that you've been able to bring yourself back, that is practicing mindfulness and yoga. So, it's not the fact that you can just be present 24/7 and always be here in your body and not, wherever else and thinking about other stuff. That's not it at all. And I don't think anyone, no matter how long they've been practicing meditation and mindfulness, has ever achieved that. It's more of, recognizing when you do let yourself think about all the crazy stuff that is totally outside of our control and not right in front of us. It's not in this room with you doing yoga, and just bringing yourself back to that and what you're doing, and that you are investing in yourself right now. You're practicing self-care. You're taking the time out of your day to really help yourself as much as possible. Those are all things to gently remind yourself when you've, realized that you've wandered off to somewhere else. Take one deep breath in and a big sigh out. On your next inhale, again, slowly start to come up, one vertebrae at a time. Move your props off to one side because we are going to get into deer after this. But we'll just want to take that neutralizing windshield wiper with our knees just to release the back before we come down into that. So if you've got two pillows, or if you have like a longer pillow that you would normally sleep with, set that up next to your right side. So next to your right thigh, you're gonna set up your pillow or pillows. And then you'll bring your right shin to one side of your mat, so whatever side you want, facing one way or the other. And then you'll take your left knee towards your right foot, and then you'll tuck your left heel in towards your left glute. So you're kind of in that cheerleader sit. If any of you guys are cheerleading or know what the heck that is. So you're in this neutral state, you're facing the side of your mat. And then slowly, when you're ready, you're gonna start to rotate your torso towards your pillow or pillow. And again, this might be enough of a twist for you. You might be like, yep, this is good, I'm gonna stay here. Totally fine, you're doing a twist. This is a deep twist. If you want to, you can start to make your way down towards your pillow. So bringing your chest and either a side of your face or your forehead down onto your pillows, just to try to really relax into this deer posture. And this one's really good because it's a really deep twist and helps you detoxify your body, but also relieve areas of tension. So you might feel some stretching happening in your IT band, in your hip area, as well as your low back. So finding what feels good to you. All of us are going to feel a bit differently. Get into this as deeply or not as you want, but wherever you found a good shape, just close your eyes, really relax in as much as possible, knowing that this is another opportunity to release tension in your body. So if you imagine wringing out like a dish rag or a sponge or something, when you get into these twisting postures, it's just allowing your organs to release and get that internal massage that typically you're not in this twisting posture all day. You might twist to, grab something or turn around in your chair or whatever, but you're not holding it for quite as long as we do here most of the time. I mean, I don't think most of us are in deep twists throughout the day, but it's just a really nice opportunity for a different kind of reset for your internal system. So just breathe deep here, knowing that we won't be holding this one forever either. And we're about halfway through this side already. So using your breath, relaxing into it as much as you can, trying to find that sense of calm and peace within, and just enjoying a few minutes of rest here, closing your eyes and using your breath. Take a deep breath in, sigh it out, let it go. And your next inhale, start to make your way back up. And we're just gonna head towards the other side for a counter twist. So just start to go towards your left-hand side, taking a peek over your left shoulder, just to take a quick counter twist there. And then we're just gonna swap that out. So your choice, you can leave your props where you're at and just face the other side of your mat so you don't have to move everything. I'm gonna move stuff so I can still face you guys. So do what feels good to you. We're facing the other way. I'll talk you into it, but if you've moved your props, your pillow should now be towards your left thigh, and then your left shin comes parallel with the side of your mat, tucking your right heel in towards your right glute, and bringing your right knee in towards your left foot. And this is where you're gonna start to twist over towards the left side. And again, this might be a good spot for you to hang out in for at least a few minutes. If you're ready to start to make your way down on this side, just coming down onto your props, finding your way here. You might want to stack your props a little bit differently just to get into this a little bit easier. Whatever feels good to you, find that. Again, each side is gonna feel differently. So just accept that it might look different on this side and that you might need a little bit more help or a little less help, and that's okay. And once you've found your shape that you can hang out in, just close your eyes, come back to your breathing, and allow yourself to really get into this deep twist on this side. We're halfway through this side. So again, try not to fidget. If you've already started to, just bring yourself back. Allow yourself to relax as much as possible, knowing that we won't be in this for much longer. Take a deep breath in. Big open mouth, sigh out, let something go. And your next inhale, start to make your way up to a seated position, slowly one vertebrae at a time. And we're just gonna take that counter twist, so start to head over towards your right side, looking over your right shoulder. In a moment to undo that. And then coming back to center. And we are just gonna head down to our backs. So move your props out of the way if they aren't out of the way already. And then just start to slowly make your way one vertebrae at a time all the way down to your spine. And once you're there, we're just gonna take a brief stop in happy baby pose. So bringing your knees up in towards your chest, towards your armpits, grabbing onto the outer edges of your feet. And then you can just hang out here as you really just try to bring your knees in closer towards your mat. If you want to, you can sway from side to side just to release your low back, especially because we've done a lot of low back openers tonight. You might need that release. Taking a few moments here to take anything that you still need for your practice tonight. And on your time, when you're ready, I'm gonna make our way to our final resting shape, or our Shavasana. So if legs up the wall is your jam, head to a nearby wall and extend your legs up, just to get that sense of relief. If you want to come to traditional Shavasana, you'll just start to stretch out on your mat, bring your legs into a wide V shape. And then you can either bring your hands to your belly to pay more attention to your breathing as you're laying here, or you can bring them with your palms facing down just to have some more grounding and some calm energy for the rest of your practice tonight. So either way, just finding a shape that feels good to you. And once you've started to settle in, just softly close your eyes. Pay attention to any areas of tension that you still might be holding on to. So softening the muscles in your face, relaxing your jaw just a little bit. Seeing if you can gently roll your shoulders down your back a little bit, and even paying attention to your hands. Sometimes we tense up our hands throughout our yoga practice, so just really trying to mindfully relax your hands as much as possible. And then if your feet are up the wall or stretched out in normal Shavasana, just start to let your toes flop to either side so that you're really just relaxing fully into this and opening up here. And on your next exhale, just breathe deep and enjoy a few moments of rest. Shavasana is here as long as you need tonight. So if you do want to continue to rest and you're feeling like really cozy and just into it, tune out my voice, stay where you're at. You're in your space, so take the time that you need. But if you are wanting to move on just so that you can finish up what you need to get ready for bed, start to bring a little bit of awareness back to your body, and perhaps you wiggle your fingers and your toes. And then make your way to either side for a brief stop in fetal pose. Just gently closing your eyes, thanking yourself for showing up for your practice tonight. And then very slowly on your next inhale, start to make your way to a comfortable seated position. Bring your hands to heart center and then softly closing your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Big sigh out, let it go. Breathe in something good, something awesome that you still need for your week. Let go of something that you don't need anymore. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I hope you're able to reset, unwind, and relax just a little bit and have a great night's sleep. Namaste.